Hello, everybody. It is Melina here with you, Heart of Detroit. Today, I have my good friend Gary. And say hi, Gary.
Hello.
Gary and I are going to talk about some of the things that he's been through in the last, I don't know, how long has it been, Gary?
39 years.
Well, I'll let Gary introduce himself and just talk about who he is a little bit.
My name is Gary. I'm an activist in Detroit. I do some mutual aid work and prison abolition work. I'm also a writer. Um, and yeah, here to talk with Co.
He's being a little bit, he does a lot more than that. Gary's pretty amazing. I just gotta say. But my first question for you, Gary, would be, obviously I've been doing this Heart of Detroit thing, talking to people in Detroit, and, we're in March now, March of 2021. And I started this because of COVID, and
Mhm.
we're a year in now. So, Gary, how has COVID affected you personally?
It's given me a lot of obviously time to self-reflect on a lot of things, as I think for a lot of people too, around me. With family, friends, and even when it comes to like activism, you have to navigate ways to get stuff done differently all over the board. It's been a wild ride. I think I see a lot of more mutual aid groups popping up over the city, because it's much needed. Even now more than before. I mean, it was much needed before too, but people need resources now that they're not getting. They don't know how to get them through our government. So we're looking towards community, which is, stronger communities are a good thing. Uh, and it's good to see that. It's a lot of work for a lot of people, and a lot of stress, but I think stronger communities will come out of this, whole pandemic. But yeah, um, I've had my experience in the hospital, as you know, for the past few months, being on a ventilator for 30 days and recovering from that, and just seeing the COVID all around me in the hospital and nursing home. It's pretty heavy.
Yeah,
Mentally and physically. Yeah.
yeah, can't even imagine. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty scary for like the rest of us because one day everybody's like Gary's on Facebook, and then the next day you kind of like were off Facebook, and there was like a post saying like Gary's on a ventilator, and it was like a lot of us didn't know what was going on, and obviously you're on a ventilator, you can't post stuff like, "Hey, I'm on a ventilator," and you know what I mean. And for a lot of us, we were all kind of like, "Oh my God, is Gary alive? Is he okay? What's going on?" And like, and it wasn't like this was happening in like last April. It wasn't
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
the early days of COVID. I mean, we're talking recently.
Yeah, it was in November. Yeah, the whole month of November,
Mhm.
was on a ventilator. Um, and yeah, it was scary for a lot of people. I obviously didn't know what was going on, and even when I woke up, I was a bit confused, as to what was going on. Um, and so I've been getting filled in by family and some friends or whatever, as to what was happening, The doctors didn't tell me much, you know, so
Wow.
which was odd.
Yeah.
They're
That's
just like, all right, we're transferring you. You know, you've been here long enough. So
oh. So you went from the hospital and then you got transferred into like a nursing home?
yeah, nursing home called the Regency in Livonia, and that was another experience that really, um, hmm, really rattled my cage in a sense of like the negligence of the care that
Mhm.
they're giving people in these like long-term homes. I was probably the youngest person there at 39. Um, and from the nursing staff to the nurses, there was so much negligence. Like I had to like wait 2 hours for like a glass of water. I had to tell three people before I even got a glass of water. Um, the food there was not healthy at all. It would be like a scoop of scrambled eggs and maybe a pancake, a cold one, and a small little juice. It felt a lot like when I went to jail in Chicago at times.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
it was bad. Yeah. And I mean, I could have, in the nursing home, I could have died and not been discovered for about 3 or 4 hours until they tried to take my blood pressure or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh. And this is like the place they put you in to like recover from COVID.
Uh huh. And they'd have to like, you know, change my diaper, and that would take another 2 hours, and they would act like it was a big problem, you know, and stuff like that. Yeah. And just knowing that there was other like people in there like long term that are like dying and can't have any visitors in there because of COVID. Um, you know, knowing that they're experiencing the same thing the last days is pretty like sad. You know,
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to have a little computer with me and be able to communicate with people outside, and that was good. And a lot of people didn't have that option in there, so uh, I find out too, like a lot of these adult homes are like that on the regular. So I think there should be a little more advocacy now as to
Yeah.
the negligence of insurance and these companies, pretty much milking the insurance and not taking care of the patients.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're out and
Yeah.
kind of okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I had to like learn how to walk and stuff, and they did cut my rehab off in while I was in the adult care center because of insurance reasons, and they weren't really clear on that. It's a whole issue. My social worker was terrible. It took a week or two to even get in touch with a social worker there, so they cut my insurance or my rehab off, and I've been doing self physical therapy for I don't know the past few weeks now since I've gotten out.
oh my God. This is horrifying.
Yeah. And then I mean I'm not the only one.
I know. I know.
it's a sad state of affairs. It's our
Gay
healthcare
health
system.
insurance in America, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
They,
healthcare in America. Awesome, you know?
they tried to discharge me when I wasn't even ready to walk yet.
Ah,
Um, and I was like, no, like, and then I don't know. I just signed some papers to stay in for a little bit longer, and hoping my rehabilitation would continue. But no, then it took me forever to get out of there. So I don't know.
I know at one point I was trying to like figure out a way that I could break you out.
I was about to pull the fire alarm in there and walk out.
I know, it's like, yeah, Gary, pull the fire alarm. I'll get a wheelchair and we'll figure the way out, you
I
know.
was gonna, yeah, wheelchair around there and like map it all out as escape routes.
Figure out the map, figure out the layout. I'll get like a little like
Yeah.
outfit on so I don't get COVID, and we'll figure it out. We'll just get you out of there.
Yeah. It was insane. Um, yeah, there's no visitors, so nobody could come in and see the abuse that was going on, you know. And I think that they were using COVID as like a way of like hiding more things, you know,
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. I mean, you could come to my window and scream through the window and try and visit with me, but you know, it's like 30 degrees outside, so who wants to do that when you could just call me?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
so sorry, Gary.
crazy.
How are you
Yeah.
feeling? How are you feeling now, though? Like,
Um, just still processing a lot of the stuff, you know, from the physical stuff every day. You know, kind of frustrating. And then just mentally, you know, it's taken a toll of, I literally almost died a bunch of times, you know, while I was under. I mean, I had an infection in my lungs that spread through my blood and started shutting down my organs. And pretty much they're saying they're doing all they can. And luckily, I was, you know, they said I would probably be on dialysis for the rest of my life.
mm-hmm.
But I dodged that bullet, and,
God.
and then just surviving that alone
Yeah.
is like pretty remarkable. I don't know. And then learning how to walk again, and you know, getting your mind straight, and it's a battle. It's, you know, like once I came out of there, and like I don't know if a lot of people understand like mentally and physically how it affected me. And it's like, oh, you're out. Are you walking yet? You know, it's like,
Yeah. You're like, no.
what just happened? You know, it's like,
Yeah.
I just had to fight my way out of a hellhole, two
Yeah.
hell.
Oh,
And yeah, so I'm doing all right. Just, you know, trying to navigate, moving forward. You know,
yeah.
and like, being able to write, and been writing, catching up, writing on prisoners and stuff. That takes, you know, my mind off things.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad that you're alive. I'm glad that you're like slowly getting better, and
Yeah,
I hope
I
that.
don't necessarily know the time frame, but I won't be running or jumping anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, if there's any physical therapists out there that want to like